Hello, my dear friends. Thank you so much for joining me on To Tell the World podcast. Without your support, this podcast would not exist. Okay, so if you find yourself facing a lawsuit or contemplating bringing one against someone, but can't afford legal representation, winning your case becomes a daunting challenge. But why is that? Today, I'd like to share something close to my heart. We live in a democratic nation and might assume that justice is accessible to all. Yet, the path to achieving it, whether or not you have an attorney, isn't so straightforward. For most people, the first reaction comes to mind is to legal trouble is to seek an attorney's help, assuming they'll know how to navigate the system. But after a consultation, the cost, often $375 an hour or more with thousands in retainer fees, can be shocking. And there's no guarantee of winning. Civil cases can drag on for years, and if you lose and want to appeal, the costs rise even higher. Although some cases, like personal injury or property damage, may be covered by insurance. However, for most civil matters, you're left to fund your own defense. Many people stay silent and endure the hardship rather than go to court, knowing they can't afford it. How many of us have room in our budgets for lawsuits? Because of these barriers, more people are representing themselves, believing that simply sharing their story in court will lead to justice. Unfortunately, this is rarely the case. Courts have become less inclined to grant leniency to self-represented litigants, swiftly closing their cases. In criminal cases, the Fifth Amendment guarantees the right to counsel for those who can't afford an attorney. But this right doesn't apply to civil cases where you're on your own. About 20 years ago, I found myself in a legal battle after stormwater mismanagement affected my property. After paying him tens of thousands of dollars, my attorney eventually withdrew, leaving me stranded and financially exhausted. That experience inspired me to pursue a law degree and represent myself. During my final year of law school, I conducted an independent study on civil Gideon, the civil right to counsel. The concept of civil Gideon stems from the 1963 U.S. Supreme Court case Gideon versus Wainwright, which affirmed the right to legal counsel for criminal defendants. But this right has not been extended to civil cases. Although some states have launched pilot programs to provide civil representation in cases like evictions and domestic violence, a broader right to counsel in civil matters is still not a reality. So, today's topic on civil Gideon, the civil right to counsel in civil cases, addresses an important yet often overlooked aspect of the justice system. It speaks directly to a problem that affects countless people who are unable to afford legal representation in civil matters, which can lead to unjust outcomes simply because they lack legal expertise. Our democracy and justice system should support each other. However, today's judicial system seems clouded by biases, political influences, and economic barriers. It's time for judicial reform to keep our courts fair and impartial. For this reason, civil Gideon deserves serious attention from Congress and state legislatures. Ensuring fair legal representation in civil cases, regardless of income, is a step toward a just society. Implementing civil Gideon for all the 50 states would require resources, but the benefits far outweigh the costs. Every person deserves the opportunity to defend their rights, even without deep pockets. I believe legal education should start early in schools, even as early as in elementary schoolings, so that people are equipped with basic legal knowledge early on. Justice isn't just for lawyers and judges, it's for all of us. Unfortunately, our courts often feel like an exclusive club for those in the legal profession, which isn't fair. So, I encourage you to seek knowledge of the law, not just in case of a lawsuit, but to understand the system that affects us all. There are many resources online, including the American Bar Association's website, where you can find more information on Civil Gideon and the movement for the civil right to counsel. And to all the recent law graduates out there, just imagine the opportunities and impact that implementing the civil right to counsel in civil matters could have, such as creating jobs, promoting fairness, and leveling the playing field in our courts. Moreover, I hope my call for judicial reform and education on basic legal rights emphasizes the importance of accessible justice, will inspire your reflection and action of justice and equality for all. That's it for now, folks. It's Friday, and the 2024 election is just 3 days away. I urge you to vote thoughtfully, not just for yourself, but for future generations and the type of nation we wish to be. Thank you for tuning in, and until we meet again, may the divine be with you.